Alright, let's get back to trolling in Modern. Some of you might remember the Troll Worship deck that I presented, what, a week ago? And I admitted during the video that it's weak, it's my worst deck objectively. I've got all this other extra stuff that shouldn't be in there, like Banefire, Aurelia's Fury, in order to get damage through, because it's hard to get damage through. It's got more enchantments to buff up my creatures than actual creatures, and it's just a matter of the deck devolving over time and becoming worse over time as I try to make it work. It probably worked just fine, the original list from 14 years ago, but it doesn't work anymore. So I decided to break it up, sell all the pieces, get rid of the deck. And then I'm thinking, oh, but I like Sylvan Caryatid. Trolls are fun. I want to play with my Troll Acidics. I want to play with Thrun. I want to play with the guys at St. Traft. So, went on MTG Top 8, and I looked for a deck that uses Geist, Troll Acidic, and Thrun, and I found this, what I'm going to show you today. Although it's been a little bit updated, a little bit modified. This deck is from 2012. It's 14 years old. So hopefully my modifications make it on par with my other decks and it's playable. Let's start with the mana base. So the deck is supposed to have 23 lands. I have 22. I think I can get away with that, and when I play it the first time I'll find out. So 2 breeding pool, 1 flooded strand, go find a breeding pool. 4 forest, don't take damage. Gavany Township, not in the original deck list. This is just a carryover. It's my way of playing with some of the cards I have, and it's worked before. Hallowed Fountain. Island. Misty Rainforest. Go find an island, take no damage. Go find a temple garden and hurt yourself. Take your pick. 2 plains. Temple Gardens. And 4 Windswept Heath. So if I'd broken up the Troll Worship and got rid of it, I could have got money out of the mana base, but none of the other cards are worth a damn. In fact, I picked up a 3rd foil, Guys in St. Traft, for about €5, €6 I think it was. Okay, so let's keep going. So the deck is called Bant Four-Swords. Originally it was 5 swords, but I had to get that Sword of Forge and Frontier from Yuji a few days ago in the trade that I made with him when I met him for the first time. Actually yesterday. Today's Wednesday. Yeah, I just met him yesterday. Great guy. So, the idea of the deck is you now play hexproof creatures and you smash with them, but you give them something interesting to smash with. So Sword of Feast and Famine. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, protection from black and green, and when he smacks a player, you untap all your lands and they discard a card. Sword of Fire and Ice, protection from blue and red. Whenever it smacks somebody, you get to shock them, shock one of their creatures, shock one of their plane, you get to shock something, shock them down, and draw a card. Sword of Forge and Frontier, this is the new one, this is the one I'm least familiar with, this is the one that it's just here because it became available. Not my first choice, but here it is. So, creature gets +2/+2, protection from green and red. A lot of my decks have green, a good number of them have red, so that's relevant. And whenever a creature smacks somebody, I exile the top 2 cards from my library. I can play them this turn, and I can play additional land this turn. Don't really like exiling my cards, but I'll see if it works. Maybe it's really good, and I just don't see it. That's happened before. That's happened a lot more than I like to admit. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, protection from black and white from the Sword of Light and Shadow. Whenever a creature smacks somebody, you gain 3 life and you can raise the dead. In the original deck list, there were 2 Swords of War and Peace. So there was not Forge and Frontier because this deck list is from 2012. But there's Sword of War and Peace, 2 of them. And because of one of the Planeswalkers I have in here, giving the creature protection from white is going to be a non-bow. So there we go. Alright, 3 Guys to St. Traft. Hexproof 2/2 Clerical Spirit. So whenever he attacks, he brings a 4/4 Flying Angel with him, and she is attacking 2. The deck originally had 4 Kasali Pride Mage in the main. I decided to see if my Voices of Resurgence work, so I bought a set of foil ones and put them in Absent Evolution. I was going to buy list them back to my LGS, these flat ones, but the price dropped because I got the foil ones right before they got reprinted. So when I went to go sell them, they had been reprinted and the prices tanked. So I had them in my box. They work in this deck. Well, they're castable in this deck. I don't know if they will work in this deck, but I'm going to find out. Dress Down. I got this foil Dress Down in a box of MH2 that I opened. I don't know. This is basically a pre-sideboard card. I'm interested to see if this works. This is the best option for deck to shove it into and find out. So, Absent Evolution, it can screw up Kitchen Finks, it can screw up Siege Rhino, take away Trample. Against the black deck, it just wrecks all the creatures with black because they all have abilities. Red, my Boros Burn deck doesn't care. Boros Burn says, okay. So my Goblin Guides, when they attack, you don't look at the top card of the library. So what? You still take 2 damage from the Eidolon of the Great Reveal for casting that, and here, eat a lightning bolt. Blow! So against Boros Burn, this will come out pretty quickly once we sideboard. Has 2 mana leaks. I wish I knew how to pronounce that in Russian. I need to ask Evgeny, the genie. How do I say that in Russian? Okay, so 2 mana leaks. Counter target spell unless the spell's caster of the spell you're countering pays 3 of any color. It pays 3. So pay 3 more or your spell is countered. Not really played anymore. 4 Noble Hierarch. Bent Birds. Exalted. So the more I have, the better if I'm only attacking with 1 creature. Add blue, green, or white to your mana pool. Sylvan Carrier did. The original deck list used Birds of Paradise. And that's because, when was this printed? This is printed in 20... I can barely read that. Jesus Christ. 2013. So these are printed in 2013. So they either were not... They could not have been in that original deck list because they had not been printed. First off. And I'm not sure if the people running this deck at that time would have switched from Birds of Paradise to these in the first place. Because birds come down faster. They fly so they can block flyers if you need to. But these have hexproof. So, and I've got a set of 4 of them. I don't have a set of 4 extra birds. So here we go. Sylvan Carrier did hexproof, add 1 mana of any color to mana pool. 2 Thrun the Last Troll. 2 green for 4/4 troll enchantment that cannot be countered. Cannot be the target of spells or abilities my opponent's control. And regenerates. Troll Acidic. 1 green for a 3/2 troll shaman that can be countered. Can't be the target of spells, abilities your opponent's control. And can regenerate. Okay, here's a new edition. This is something else I got from Yuji. The deck list originally had 3 Elspeth Knight Errant. She costs the same. She's kind of the same. So let's look at them side by side. Archangel versus Elspeth Knight Errant. They both cost the same, 2 white. They're both Elspeth Planeswalkers. Only this one's a legendary. Right? So you were paying attention. Anyway, +1. +1, they both put a soldier into play. 1/1 white soldier, but Archangel, her soldiers are lifelinkers. +1, and then -2. So they both give a creature flying and bigger, but she makes it +3/+3 and flying only until the end of the turn. She puts 2 +1/+ encounters on them, and it becomes an angel, and it gains flying permanently until it dies. So that is different. They complement each other, but they're not the same. Knight Errant ultimate is -8 for the rest of the game. All your stuff is indestructible. and it's easier to get to because they're both +1 abilities. And Archangel, neg 6, so easier to get to except if you're doing neg 2 to give something flying and make it bigger. Return all non-land permanents with CMC 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So I'm keen to try those out. I want to see which one. I want to see if one is better than the other. So as I was saying before the camera battery died and I had to splice it together, I want to find out if one is better than the other or if they complement each other. One of the other nice things about having 2 of her and 1 of her in the deck is it's possible to have Knight Errant and Archangel in play at the same time. So I can make a soldier and they give it +3/+3 and flying until end of turn, or make a soldier that doesn't have lifelink and put counters on it. Yeah, I can play with it. I'm going to see what happens. I want to see what happens. Okay, the original deck list for this Bant deck had Steel Shaper's Gift. So this was printed in 2010. This was open and available for the deck builder, the original designer, to use, but they chose Steel Shaper's Gift instead. The only thing I can think of is they wanted to save the mana. They would rather spend 1 white than a white and a colorless to get Stoneforge Mystic. They both do the same thing, essentially. Steel Shaper's Gift, when it resolves, go find an equipment, put in your hand. Her, when she comes into play, when she resolves, do the same thing. But she has the added 1 and a white tap. You put an equipment card from your hand on the battlefield. So I'm upping the initial casting cost, doubling it, by not having Steel Shaper's Gift, but I am potentially reducing the cost of casting the equipment, because if she doesn't die at my next turn, I can put it into play for 2. So Steel Shaper's Gift, if you have 4 mana, you can cast it, get a sword, cast the sword, it's in play. It's unlikely in Modern you would have the 6 mana to equip it also, but it's possible. With her, so it would be 5 to play her, find the sword and cast it, and then 7 to equip it. So, but I have her. I don't have any Steel Shaper's Gift. Didn't really feel arsed about the prices dropped. The prices dropped down a lot from what it used to be. But I'm just not going to bother with it. I'm going to play with Misty. Okay, deck has 4 Path to Exiles. I understand this has fallen out of favor in Modern. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't follow the metagame that closely. But from what I've read, and what I've heard from talking to the lads that do play Modern, Path to Exile isn't as popular, as ubiquitous as it once was. I guess the enchantment. So the enchantment with Flash, I can't remember the name of it because I don't own any. It's expensive, so I haven't bothered to really look them up and pursue them, even though General Domain could really use them. So the one where it costs 6, reduced by 1 for every land type among lands you control. It comes into play, you exile something until it goes away. That enchantment, which is in Modern, which is popular. I think that, as I understand it, that is replacing Path to Exile. Do correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm curious. I'd like to know. The deck has 2 worships. Troll Worship. I had 3 worships and a Sarah Benevolent, which her ultimate is worship. And you can do it on the 2nd turn after she comes into play, because Sarah Benevolent costs 4, white, 2 colorless, comes into play with 4 loyalty, +2, all your flying creatures get bigger. I forget exactly how, because I didn't play it that often. And her ultimate is neg 6. You get an emblem that basically says worship. Alright, let's look at the sideboard. Sideboard is 4 Kasali Pridemage, which in the original deck list, these were in the main. I'm running the Voice of Resurgence in the main to experiment with them because I think they should work pretty good. Against Burn, Voice of Resurgence, Okay. Yes, you can bolt something on my turn, which is more efficient, which is what you want to do. But if you bolt me, I get a token creature. If you bolt my creature, I get 2 token creatures, 1 for you casting the damn spell, 1 for you killing it. Pick your poison. So anyway, Solid Red Mage. I didn't know if I would like this when I saw the pictures. When I saw the images online, I didn't know, it looked kind of goofy. But now that I have them in person and I can look at them, they look kind of cool. I like them. I like that they're different. Alright, 3 negates. I would probably board these in. Again, I have a closed metagame of closed ecosystem of modern decks. They all are designed to play well against each other. They're designed so no one is head and shoulders above the others, so I don't have a single best deck that stomps the rest. They're all supposed to have a chance against everything else in the field. So when I go to Alamotes, my friend can just pick a deck, I can pick a deck, and it's not going to be a blowout. Should be a fun match. That's the idea. So this would go in good against Absent Evolution to stop the Eldritch Evolution, against Merfolk to stop the counterspell, Ether Vial, Deep Root Pilgrimage, Deep Water Pilgrimage, Deep Throat Pilgrimage, whatever the hell it is, Deep something Pilgrimage. It can stop that shit. What are the decks that... This would be good against Burn. So, negate in the sideboard. Scavenging Ooze in the sideboard. I've got a few decks that recur creatures, recur cards in the graveyard, most notably the black deck, and this will eat it up. Mirran Crusader. Alright, if I pick this deck, and one of my buddies picks a black or green deck that is the mono black deck, or which other deck has black? Well, General Domain, but he can just burn it. Okay, offhand, pretty much just the mono black deck. So if this deck is playing against the mono black deck, out comes 2 of the Troll Ascetics, in go 2 of these guys. That'd also be good against my daughter's Squirrel deck, but I'm not going to do that to her. If she plays the Squirrel deck, if I convince her to play, I'm not going to side these in. She wouldn't like that, and then she wouldn't play. Refraction Trap. Opponent casts red instant or sorcery spell this turn. I can pay white rather than pay the mana cost. So basically it takes the next 3 damage that a red source would do. No, a source. Ooh. Any source. Okay, it's obviously, if they're casting a red spell and I'm paying it for the trap cost, it would be a red source, and it prevents the next 3 damage, and then it redirects it to target creature or player. So with the Boros Burn, if they go to Lava Spike me, for example, and there's an Eidolon in play, I can prevent the damage by spending 1 white, and I can redirect that Lava Spike, that damage, even though Lava Spike only targets, I can redirect the damage back to the Eidolon, and I won't take damage from the Eidolon because this costs 4. Even though I'm only paying the alternate cost, it still costs 4, and Eidolon only hurts you if you play something for 3 or less. Okay, wow, this card is better than I thought. Huh, that's pretty cool. And they didn't cost that much. Huh, okay. Sweet. So anyway, that's Bant Four-Swords. Let me splice this together, get it posted, and tell me what you think.